In this video, I will explain the secret behind Josephine Lee's body split illusion. Here's a quick recap of what happened. In this trick, Josephine selects a female volunteer from amongst the audience for her performance. She lays the woman on her back on a table presented on the stage and takes her shoes and socks off. However, she has another sock worn under the ones the magician removes, and these are left on. Thereafter, two box-like structures are placed above her and fixed to the table. Following that, the magician spins the table around, returns it to its original position, and fixes a barrier to the woman's ankles and neck. Afterwards, she slides two metal sheets into the little space between the box-like structures that were initially placed above the woman. Amazingly, the sheets cut through the woman's body, and the table is pulled apart, separating her upper body from her lower body. The two separate parts of the table are moved separately around the stage by the magician and her assistants. Eventually, the two halves of the table are brought back together, and the sheets, barriers and box-like structures are removed. Thereafter, the woman gets off the table and appears to be in perfect condition without a scratch. Well, how did she perform her illusions? Here is the secret. Although the woman Josephine chooses as a volunteer at the beginning of her show seems like a normal audience member, in reality, she is the magician's assistant. So the selection was not done randomly, and the act was practiced before the show. When the magician's assistants came on stage with the box-like structure, you'll notice something. The box placed on the lower part of the table already has a black sticker on it before it is positioned on the table. However, the man carrying it tries his best to hide the sticker from the audience. The real purpose of the black sticker is to prevent the audience from detecting the falsehood when Josephine splits the woman's body. Also to prevent them from noticing that the woman's legs are not on the table and that the feet are fake. The sticker gives the illusion that her legs are on the table and inside the box. Although Josephine puts a barrier on the woman's ankles and feet, as mentioned earlier, there is enough room for her to remove her feet from the barrier. Hence, we observe her stretching her feet out properly, which wouldn't have been the case if the barrier was firm to her ankles. Her trousers and the pair of socks that were left on are worn for a purpose, as there is a duplicate setup hidden beneath the table. The lower half of the table has a pair of fake feet fixed beneath it, and these legs are rotatable. The pair of socks that Josephine leaves on the woman's feet are purposely left on because the replica of these pairs of socks is worn on the fake feet. Additionally, we observe that the socks were properly worn over the woman's feet before the setup was done, but after the setup, the socks were not properly worn on the right fake foot. Also, the ankle of the fake feet appears to be thicker than the woman's real feet, and the feet look fatter. In addition, when the boxes were initially placed above the woman's body on the table, her lower body was still laying on the lower part of the table. Also, when the magician began to spin the table, her body was still in its normal position. After the magician fixes the barrier to the woman's feet, Josephine turns the woman such that her head is facing the audience. The woman's feet are thus turned away from the audience's view. This is done on purpose to hide a secret move the woman will do on the table. This is the moment the woman removes her legs from the barrier and folds them up into the upper box. Then the fake feet rotate from under the table and replace the woman's feet. When Josephine comes back to the table with the second barrier and fixes it on the woman's neck, her assistant helps the woman push her feet in properly. Once the setup is completed, the male assistant steps away from the table, and it is turned back into position. We observe that the fake feet move up and down in alternate directions unnaturally. This is because they are fake mechanical feet, programmed to only move back and forth. Thereafter, Josephine easily places the metal sheet between the two boxes. Because the woman's lower body is folded up, she obviously wouldn't have been able to fix the sheet as easily if the woman's lower body was still stretched on the table. After moving the separated tables about the stage, they bring them back together to join her body. But after joining the table together, they once again turn the table again, positioning her upper part to the audience and hiding the lower part from the audience's view. This was done, once again, to hide the moment the fake feet were switched for the real feet. As it was done earlier, the male assistant once again removes the lower box carefully to prevent the audience from spotting the black sticker on the box. Behind this mask, only the truth remains, till we meet again.